And you can hear me? Are we okay?
Yes, I hear you great. Welcome to the show, David.
Oh, thank you. Let me there we go. There we go.
It's good to see
Good.
you.
You
Um,
too. Good to see you too, man. Wow, this is great. Talking about old times.
yeah, before we get into the modern day stuff, because there's so much, I wanted to go all the way back. Did you actually grow up right in Framingham, or was it one of the towns around Framingham?
No, right in Framingham, man. Framingham, Massachusetts. Yeah. Um, yeah, born and raised. God, I stayed there for like going way back now, like 25 years, and I moved to Ashland, after I left my
Yeah,
my folks' house, and I had that ice band you talked about, and then Milford. I went to Milford before I left for California in 1980.
yeah,
So
yeah. I'm from
yeah,
Webster, so I know all those towns.
yeah,
Definitely.
sure,
Um, do
sure.
you I was curious. I wanted to ask you about your youth a little bit. I know that I imagine you're a big Beatles fan. In fact, I believe I heard that. Was that when you first got interested in music, or were there other bands that you were hearing around that time when you were a kid that got you into it?
Well, I started with like I was, when I was small, Elvis Presley. I mean, I think I told a story before, like to some of my guitar, like Gibson people, and like I heard the like Hound Dog, doom, 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 and I don't know, whatever, for some reason it just grabbed me. The guitar just grabbed me, in the gun, Jailhouse Rock, that just the chords and the riffs of Scotty Moore there,
Oh
with
yeah.
Elvis. Just kind of grabbed me when I was a kid, and then of course the Beatles. And I started taking lessons before the Beatles, like at 8 years old. And then when the Beatles came, it just blew the roof off the place. I just went, I gotta grow my hair and start a band. And that was it. That was it.
I read that there was a band called the Sandstones that you started when you were like 11 years old. Is that true?
What? Where are you getting? Yes, unbelievable. How you get this information?
Oh, I'm a
It's
big fan of yours, man. I've been following your
wow.
career for a long time. So,
See,
I mean,
you're bringing me back. Yeah, the Sandstones with Steve Bremner with he was in it with it was a One Way Out after that. The band called One Way Out before Ice and August and that stuff. But Sandstones, wow,
that
you are got like.
well,
Go
Ice
ahead.
was when I saw Ice, and I was just blown away by you guys. And the one thing I remembered was like you were a real lead guitar player at a young age. I mean, there's people that say they're guitar players, but I
Oh,
think of you as a lead guitar player. You could play leads faster. In fact, I know another guy that we know, and we were talking about this the other day because I told him I was going to talk to you, and that's Donnie Thayer. And we were talking. You
oh,
remember Donnie Thayer, right?
sure, absolutely.
we
Yeah.
we were talking about you in that respect, like, all these guys were all guitar players, but Dave was like a real lead player. He could rip the leads at a young age, and that's
Oh, that's
probably
cool.
why you ended up with Jimmy D, because Jimmy D had, like, and we're going to talk about August now, because he was all into the Beatles and the hard rock, and him and Jamie, both of them, rest in peace, two great guys. Why don't you talk
I
about
I
that a little
agree.
bit? I'd love to hear your story about when you played with them.
Well, I before that, like I said, like you mentioned, I was in Ice, with your when I read, your you wanted to, speak to me. So Ice was like going into August was a top 40 band, and we had some originals, some original music, but I wanted more, and we were making good money in the club scene and everything, but I just didn't want to stay there. Those guys seemed to want to just stay there. We're making more and more money. Of course, the money dictates, but it didn't matter to me. I wanted to make it. And so, like August and Jimmy and Jamie, they were writing songs. They were writing their own songs, and they were playing them like I think Mad Angel, not Mad Angel, and then Pretty
Pretty
Poison.
pretty
I
poison,
went to
yeah.
see Pretty Poison, and they were doing almost all originals. I mean, and like that's what I want. I want to be in a band like that. So when Pretty Poison kind of collapsed or whatever happened there, I'm not sure. I went to Jimmy. Jimmy and I started talking. I really wanted to make, be in a band with Jimmy. And then I think it was me who mentioned Jamie again, because Jamie was writing songs too, original songs. So yeah, Jimmy came over the house in Ashland, I remember, and he had some stuff, and I had some ideas, and he had a lot of songs, more than me, so I wanted to be with him, so I thought, man, we could maybe launch this to the top, take this band versus Ice, which was amazing band, and I love those guys dearly, but I just think they wanted to stay in the club scene, and I didn't want to do that, I mean, we played the clubs, we played a lot of original material, trying to maybe have somebody come out and see us, and then we would go from there. So I love Jimmy's songwriting was amazing, and Jamie came up with some great songs too. And I chimed in there with my 2 cents. I was like the George Harrison in there. I'd throw a song in there too. So, but it was good. It was great for a couple of years there.
Yeah, I know. I
So-
remember you were the original guitar player. They ended up having a couple of different guys after you, but I remember seeing the original
Yeah.
lineup.
Yeah.
When was it that you decided, you know what? I don't think this whole scene out here is for me. And because I did the same thing in 1984. I bought a one-way ticket to LA, and I worked for record labels my whole life, But what went through your head that made you say, you know what? I got to get out of here and I got to go to LA?
Well, we had a manager, Butch Stone, that we were doing demos in Atlantic and New York. We did a bunch of demos, and it just was kind of spinning our wheels a little bit, And I mean, Jimmy was living at home, and Jamie was living at home. They were pretty comfortable, Me, no, I was living with the roadies, and eating cereal every day, I mean, it was tough. And Louis, I think Louis was in the same boat as I was, kind of struggling, but
Louis
those 2 guys
Santoro.
yeah, Santoro, yeah. And I just talked to Louis the other day. He might come to see me down the Cape. We're playing the Cape this week. At the
Really?
end of,
Wow, that's awesome.
Hyannis, yeah. Cohasset on Friday night and Hyannis on Saturday night,
Nice.
So they were more comfortable than I was, I wanted to try to do it. So I was trying to tell them, let's take this, because it was in the, this was 1979, and the hair bands in LA, they were getting signed left and right, there was Poison and Motley, whatever, there was, the tons of bands came out of LA. And I said, because we were that kind of band, so let's take this band to LA. And they all went, yeah, we should do that. But I just realized that I don't think they were that serious as I was, So I just said to the manager, I mean, I just thought it was kind of spinning our wheels there, and these guys were living at home. And I just said to the manager, I said, look, if there's something in LA, I'm getting kind of tired of this. And he was kind of, we weren't getting anywhere with the demos, whatever. And so he said, I don't know what to do with this band, he said to me, so I mean, I wanted to kind of hang on to that. So I said, if there's anything in LA, please let me know. I want to go. I want to do something. I think California is the way to go. I think that's because we weren't, there was no interest in Boston. We were doing demos in New York, which he got us, but it didn't pan out that good. So I'm like, I don't want to wait around anymore, man. I want to, time's a wasted. I want to go. So,
and it was a smart move, because when you got there, I've got a whole list of things that happened. Now, were you actually in Black Oak, Arkansas for a little while before you did like all these LaToya Jackson, David Lee Roth, all the background vocals? You actually played with Black Oak, Arkansas?
Well, yes, it was supposed to be that. But Jim Danley had left. There was turmoil when I got there. Jim Danley wasn't even there. There was all sorts of turmoil. I don't know if it was a money situation. I don't know. People weren't happy there. So it was a couple of guys from Black Oak that were left over. You know what I mean? They wanted to keep going. So, and we couldn't call it Black Oak after that. So was I in Black Oak? It was supposed to be, but when I got there, it was like, I was kind of like, hey guys, let's not fight. I just got here. Let's try to do this, So we got another lead singer came in, and God, I can't remember this so long ago. I can't remember his name. From Detective, and he sang just like Rod Stewart, So we were maybe Columbia or something that came out for a demo, because we were doing, we were rehearsing songs, and it was good songs, but he sang like Rod Stewart. So they said, this guy sings. We already have a Rod Stewart, this is too much like Rod Stewart. So that kind of fell apart. And the leftover guys that of Black Oak that I went out there and said would turn into like four-piece. It was the lead guitar player from Black Oak, and the bass player who I lived with. I went out there and lived with him in a house, and we formed this band. And I said, well, who's going to sing lead? And I said, Dave, you sang lead in Boston. I turned into the lead singer there, and we called ourselves USA.
Wow.
For a bit. So we played like the Troubadour, I think the Whiskey, if I'm not mistaken. We tried to play the clubs, and I know we played the Troubadour for sure, and that was like, wow, a big deal for me, the Troubadour, famous Troubadour. And but I was broke, everybody had to work or whatever, so that lasted for a while, and then I was just doing some auditions, it stemmed off from there, just kind of like looking for stuff to do, looking for bands to play in.
I got to ask you about Motley Crue, but before we get to that, LaToya Jackson, David Lee Roth, Rick Springfield, Kim Carnes, you covered the whole spectrum, man, in a couple of years.
I did. No, LA, which I thought it was great for me, and it still is. I just, a lot of guys come out there, my friends are like, man, how did you last in LA? I got out, I there, I was in there 4 or 5 years, and I can't stand it. I went to Nashville or wherever they went, it was great for me. What happened after that was, because I played top 40 in Boston, so I knew how to do that. So I met up with a couple of guys. They said, you want to, do some top 40? And I thought, well, if I'm doing top 40 in Framingham, whatever, I'm not going to be seen. But if I do it in LA, somebody might see me, which turned out to be true, So I went down to Orange County and started playing top 40, and Jonathan Cain's brother saw me in a club, and I was singing like Journey songs, and his brother was in Journey. Jonathan Cain was in Journey.
Yeah.
So he got, and Jonathan Cain's wife, Tawny Cain band, which I was in, they needed a guitar player and singer, and I sang all the highs, even August, whatever. So they came out, and Jonathan Cain came out, and I was singing Journey songs, like, wow, this guy's singing Journey, So I was in the clubs, and all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, I'm playing Solid Gold with the Tawny Cain band. It just was snowball. It was great. It was a great time in my life, just
so those other people I mentioned, they just called you to come in the studio and do background vocals.
Well, that happened later on, and I was, the same deal happened. I was with Tawny Cain for a while, and we, that thing kind of petered out after a while. We did touring with Eddie Money and stuff like that, but then when that ended, I started going back to the top 40. My buddy called me again, Jonathan Cain's brother. He said, hey, I got this band. Let's do this again. Let's go, play. I had to make some money to pay rent, So I played, and all of a sudden Kim Carnes comes in one night into the club, and she sees me singing whatever. And she says, would you like to come on tour with me? I'm like, yes, let's go. Sat down with her, and she was just amazing. I loved her. So I kind of went on a mini tour with her. I didn't do any records with her, and it just kind of snowballed, after that. And then Ricky Phillips from the Babies and Bad English, and he was my buddy. He played in the Tawny Cain with me, and he said, hey, Nugent's looking for a singer guitar player. I think you'd fit the bill. I go, wow, get me an audition, you know? So that was like, you know, about 4 or 5 years into LA, but I had, you know, I started to do stuff, you know? So then I got the new.
You sang background vocals on Motley Crue, Girls, Girls,
Yeah.
Girls. How'd that happen?
Well, I was doing a Nugent record in, I think Girls was, if I get the dates right, don't quote me, 87, I believe, something like that. I was doing a Nugent record. We had the same producer. And they needed somebody to sing, you know, backgrounds, and they loved Ted Nugent, and Motley loved Ted, you know, everybody loves Ted, you know. So they knew I was his lead singer, and they need somebody to sing high, you know. I mean, the girls, that song, you know, girls, girls, girls. And so they said, the Nugent goes, you know, hey, Amato's my lead singer, you know, and the producer, God,
Was it
I'm
Tom
blanking out here.
Werman? Tom Werman?
Tom Werman, yes, yes. Tom Werman brought me over, you know, and threw me in, and I sang Girls, Girls, Girls and Wild Side in one day, you know,
Wow.
and one, all the background, not, you know, there was a couple other people, but I said I was in there on the vocals on that. And I mean, I was bleeding after, you know, Nikki was like, dude, this is the crew. You got to bleed, dude. You got to bleed, you know? So, you know, I mean, I walked out and just say, thanks, guys. I couldn't even talk after that day, but it was amazing. It was amazing. And I said, look, you know, it's not so much about the money. I wanted the credit on that record. You know, I mean, I thought, oh man, if I get a credit on the Crew record, you know, that's pretty cool, you know? So I got some money and the credit too. So that was good. And then I ended up being friends with Nikki. So they called me for Decade of Decadence too. I'm not that one. I mean, Dr. Feelgood. And they were going to Canada to do that. But I had joined REO already, so I couldn't do that one. But Nikki called me back for Decade of Decadence. So I did a lot of that record backgrounds. Primal Scream. You know that song, Primal Scream?
Yeah.
You know, Primal Scream, shout. That's me and Tommy going, scream,
Wow.
shout. That's just Tommy and I doing. So I did a lot of demos for them, you know, and I sat, believe it or not, when they were doing, I don't know if it before I can't get the you know the years right, but I sat on a chair. Nikki got me in there, no guitar. I sat on a chair, and they were working on a record. I forgot which record. Oh, that's when they fired Vince. I was on a chair, and I sat there, and I got paid every day just to watch the show. You know what I mean? They go, Dave, throw in some harmonies here and there, because they were just working on stuff, you know. But it was a ball to just live in that room for a while, you know, till one day I went in and I sat on my chair and I just shut up, and they said, dude, he's gone, man. Vince, they fired Vince like the day before, after I had left for the day. And I'm like, you think that's a good idea? You know, I'm like, oh, dude, yeah, you know, and that was it for that stint of Motley, you know.
Wow.
On that, because Vince had gone, you know.
Yeah, you mentioned Nugent, and you worked on 2 albums. That must
Yeah.
have been an interesting time of your life.
Wonderful, amazing. Ted believed in me as a lead singer, you know. So I came in and I did. I sang half the Little Miss Dangerous record in 1985, and then we went right on tour. Well, no, it's 85, and then the next spring, 86, we went 5 months with Aerosmith, 5 months straight with Aerosmith, and you know, because I played with my band, we opened for Aerosmith, you know, in high school, and the Cricket Lounge in Ashland. I played with Aerosmith. That was, how many seats is that? 50, 75? Crazy.
Yeah.
So, you know, I kind of knew the guys, and I'm good friends to this day all of them. Joe Perry, not so much, but Brad Whitford is a good friend of mine. Brad is, I love his sweetheart. I love her to this day. You know, we text and stuff. I talk to Brad. He's
so
wonderful.
That must have been pretty wild having Aerosmith and Ted Nugent on the road together. I can only imagine what the backstage area was like at those shows.
It was incredible. And we went around the United States, you know, in big arenas. We played arenas. We went around once, and then we went around again in 5 months. We didn't stop. It didn't stop. you know, like we're going to go home for 3 weeks. Nope. We just kept going because that was done with mirrors, you know, by
Oh yeah,
Erickson.
yeah.
They wanted Steven said, I used to sometimes eat, you know, dinner with Steven. And Steven says, you know, Dave, I wanna make this because the first record on Geffen, I want to make it 500,000
Gold.
not plat gold. I want to make
Yeah.
it gold, and that would be a good start for us to keep going, you know. So so I believe he said, if when we go gold, then I'm gonna, you know, can it here, you know. But they went gold on that record, you know.
Yeah, I
They
remember that
toured
tour.
it, though, man. They toured. Yeah,
I remember
that
that
was a
tour.
wonderful experience, man.
Well,
Great. I got
this
good
is
friends with those guys, you know.
yeah, that's why you went to LA, because you wanted to be a full-time rock and roller. So that's what you went there for, you
Yep.
know? So you
With
achieved your
Nugent,
goal.
yeah,
Here's
with Nugent, it really launched me. I mean, Ted was really good to me, man. You know, I don't care what they say about Ted Nugent. I love the guy. I mean, he believed in me, and we're friends to this day. You know,
I get
it's
the
great.
feeling that rock and roll is the like number one thing in your life. Like everything else doesn't really well, except you got you're married, right? With a kid.
No, divorce now. No kids, no
So rock
kids.
and roll is back to number one again.
Well, it's always been. That's the problem. You know, it could be the problem too. You know,
Yeah, we're good. And that's why you have
on home life.
yeah, and that's why you have so much equipment, which I want to talk to you about in a couple of minutes. But first, Jimmy
Yep.
Barnes, this is the part of the story that really threw me for a loop. You ended up moving to Australia to go work with Jimmy Barnes. How in the world did that happen?
No, I didn't. I didn't move there. I spent a lot of time there. Let's see. I was with Nugent. Well, no, yeah, I would think I was doing Nugent, but Jonathan Cain, going back to 1982, 83 with Jonathan Cain, he called me and he said, "Look, I got this guy from Australia, and I'm writing songs for him, two songs, and I want you to play guitar for him." I go, "Well, great, I'd love it." I go, "What about Neil Sean?" He was using Neil Sean for everything.
Yeah.
He goes, "No, I don't want to use Neil because he uses a lot of effects. He likes to print a lot of effects." And I went in the studio with Jonathan a lot. He knows how I play, and I just give him, a Strat or Les Paul through a Marshall. He goes, "You mind if I put on the effects I want?" I go, "John, I don't care. You're the producer. You know, it's your songs. I don't care." So he liked that. He could do anything he wanted with me. I just gave him, straight Marshall. Go ahead, you know. So I said, "Well, who's playing with it?" He says, "Well, it's going to be me, you, Tony Brock from the Babies on drums."
Yeah.
Wow. I said, "Wow, Tony Brock." And then Randy Jackson on bass from American Idol.
Wow.
Well, he wasn't American Idol then, but he was a famous session bass player. So I said, "Okay, I want to use Neil." "No, I want to use you." I'm like, "Okay, great." So we went in there and we did 2 songs, and I sang backgrounds with Jimmy and John, sang all the backgrounds, and then that was it. And they threw it to Australia, and it became a humongous hit over there. I mean, number one over there. It was Working Class Man, it was called. And it was Johnson wrote it. It was 2 songs. And American Heartbeat, I think, was the other one. And it was huge. So I was finishing up a Nugent record. We had 2 more songs to do, and we went to Miami. And I saw Randy Jackson was doing the Bee Gees, playing bass for the Bee Gees. So he goes, "Hey, did Jimmy Barnes call you?" I go, "No." He goes, "He wanted me to do a tour over there." He goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "Well, we're just finishing up with Nugent." And then Nugent's going duck hunting for months or whatever. He goes duck hunting. We're doing anything. So he goes, "You should call Jimmy. You should go over there and do a tour with Jimmy." I go, "Okay." So I think he gave me the number. So I called Jimmy. He goes, "Mate, come on over. I'll send you a ticket." So I did it for 4 years. I went over there for like 3 months at a time, and because Nugent, September 1st, Ted would go duck hunting. So he'd go, "Amato, I'm shutting it off September 1st. I'll see you after New Year's or whatever, So I had all this time off. So I did that with Nugent and Jimmy Barnes at the same time, just I go to Nugent and I go to Jimmy, and because it was our winter was their summer, so I go tour over there all winter, and I'd come home for Christmas or New Year's, and then I'd be like, woohoo, right.
I'm sorry, I got the story a little wrong there. I thought that you actually moved to Australia.
It's okay. But I spent months. Well, I was kind of living over there, 3 months at a time, But
Yeah.
it was great, and it was great. And then in '88, I did the little if you can't lick 'em with Nugent record, and they were mixing it, and again he was going to take a lot of time off, and so I went with Jimmy again because Jimmy was huge. I mean, as huge as Bruce Springsteen over there. I mean, he was number one, and so we were doing 30,000, people, 40,000, whatever, 10,000, 20,000. It was an amazing tour.
Australia is a cool place too, isn't it?
I loved it. I played everywhere in Australia. We played the Outback, in 4 years, I played every place. So I was over there again, and then all of a sudden Nugent management calls me and says, hey, Nugent picked up the Kiss tour. This was the end of 87. I had done the record, and I thought, we're just going to have a hiatus. So I didn't want to leave Jimmy, I didn't want to leave him hanging because he was so good to me. I loved him. So I said, I can't leave Jimmy, So I got replaced by Derek St. Holmes, which is a lead singer, to be replaced by the original. And Derek is one of my closest friends now. I talk to him all the time. And so I thought, you know what? I think the time's up there, So, but Jimmy said, don't worry, mate, we're going around the world with this thing. So Jimmy kept me working, and it was great. We went to Europe and all over the place. And it ended up, the Nugent tour only lasted for like a month. Something happened and it got canceled. So I picked the right job because Jimmy kept me working into the summer of the '88, so it was the right thing to do.
And speaking of the right job, it was soon after that the real right job came along. And you've been with REO Speedwagon now for 30 years or something like that.
34
years now. How did you cross paths with like Kevin Cronin and those guys, and how did that whole thing start? Because it's been quite a ride for you.
Well, I used to do some sessions for Jesse Harms, who was in Sammy Hagar's band. He was a keyboard player, and he was a staff writer for Geffen also. So he used to go, hey, Amato, I need guitar on I used to play demos for him. He had a studio in the back of his house. It was close to me. So he was writing songs. Somehow he got hooked up with Kevin, and he was writing songs with Kevin because Gary Richrath had gone.
Yeah.
So he said, they're looking for a guitar player, and I think and you're a singer. I think you'd fit the bill. He goes, so learn. He wrote a couple of songs with him. So he said, learn these 2 songs, and then they gave me a couple like "Can't Fight This Feeling" or something. A couple of hits. So I went down to Kevin's house on a Friday, and I stayed there all afternoon, and we hung out. We had a great time. I loved the guys, and they said, I got there 1 o'clock. Set up. We played all afternoon, and then by 5 o'clock they said, you want to join the band? And I was like, sure, great, But wait, can I get a water right here?
Sure, man. I'll keep talking while you're getting your water, because I did read somewhere that you said when they offered you the gig, you said they have a lead in every song. I think I'll take this gig. Is that true?
That's true. Well, you've done your homework. That's true.
Well, I mean, you're a lead guitar player like we were talking about before, and I've watched tons of your videos, and I saw REO one time only when you were in the band. But you're very prevalent. Your playing fits them perfectly for what they're doing. And before we talk more about that, I know that you did some work with Richie Sambora and Undiscovered Soul, which I think was one of his solo records.
Yeah.
And then I heard from somebody at Gibson that you guys became buddies, man. You and Richie Sambora, and you introduced him to some people and stuff. Is that accurate?
I love Richie Sambora. He's like one of my brothers. I love him. He's amazing guitar player, singer, person. Anybody who says otherwise, he's an amazing human being. I tell you, I just love him to death. He's great. Well, okay, the story goes, and I was just going to tell you really, I mean, sorry, I got so many stories here, but
tell whichever one you want, Dave.
Well, before REO, I was doing auditions after Jimmy Barnes in just to pick it up from the end of Jimmy, 1988, we went around almost around the world with Jimmy. And by that time, 4 years, again, I was like, I think I'm done with this. I'm down Australia. When I came back to the States, things had changed. You know what I mean? If you spend 3-4 months down there, or go 5 months, then things have changed. So I'd say, I want to be back in LA. I bought a condo, I wanted to settle down in LA, back in, LA. I felt like I lost a little ground, and so I started doing auditions for Cher, for Cher.
I was going to bring that up.
Back, it kept right after Jimmy. They kept calling me back. Oh, I didn't get it. A month later, 3 weeks later, they called me, come back, do it again, do it again. Okay, whatever. Just trying to get my feet back in LA, and then I got the call from REO to do the audition on a Friday, and all those auditions would Cher. I got the gig on a Wednesday of the week I'm going to audition for REO. Right?
Wow.
I got it already. So I go into REO. I already had a gig. I got the Cher gig after all these months of doing this shit. So I'm relaxed. I'm like, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I have a gig. So I got both gigs in 1 week.
Wow.
1 week. So now I'm going, now what do I do? What do I do? So I go back to Cher and I say, I can't do this. She was mad. She was mad at me. She was mad. She goes, okay, you're going to audition all the guys that didn't make it, whatever. I go, oh, great. And get paid? Great. So I did that, for a while, but she kept calling me back. So I quit. And then I go to REO because we were doing a record with REO, first record. And then the management would call me back and say, look, she doesn't like the guitar player that replaced you. What's your dates? When are you open? I'm like, I'm open for 3 weeks in May or something like that. She goes, okay, come out and do the 3 weeks with her because I know the songs, because okay. So I did that with REO for almost 4 years, both of them.
So did you do Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves?
No, it was all. No, I did not.
I was joking.
No, I agree with. I'd be like, I'm not sure about that one. No, it was hard. It was rock and roll because, and I'm filling in the blanks here with you, because Richie Sambora was going out with her at the time, right?
Whoa.
Yeah. So I'm on the side of the stage. I had Richie Sambora's tech because some of the Bon Jovi was off. So,
wow.
So Richie gave her his techs, So I had Richie's techs, a tech, I should say. And so Richie was beside me, I'm playing with Cher and Richie's right there. So me and Richie are hanging out. It was great. So he goes, hey, Dave, I love you playing, man. I'm just finishing up a solo record. You want to do my solo? Want to come out on my first solo tour? I'm like, you're kidding me. He goes, no. So I'm like, yeah, I do. So I don't know how I did it. So I still had Cher and I still had REO and I went out with Sambora.
Wow.
For the first solo tour. It wasn't long. I fit it in. Somehow I fit it in. I don't know how right now, I don't think I could do it. I could do it again.
But all those guys you were playing with back in Massachusetts were probably like, oh, he won't get anything happening out there. Next thing you know, you're playing with fucking everybody that you could possibly play.
That was like 90, 91. Yeah.
Yeah, you got a
90,
book,
91.
Dave. You should. Hopefully, you're
Yeah.
writing your book now, or somebody's working
No,
on.
I just keep going. When when I do an interview and then I relive it, and I'm like, wow, that was cool. But I don't really think about it. I just because I'm going on. I'm playing tonight. With my guys.
Before we continue, because I'm not going to keep you forever, but where are you playing tonight?
Uh, I'm in Georgia.
Georgia, Atlanta.
No. Jesus. When they do the golf tournaments,
It doesn't matter.
Augusta.
Okay.
Thank you.
The other thing I want to ask you is, since I lived in LA for like 14 years, I lived in Studio City, Encino, and then I lived in Marina Del Rey and Santa Monica.
Oh, nice.
I'm wondering where you are. Where are you? Where are you in LA?
I'm in Thousand Oaks.
Oh, you're in the
Thousand Oaks.
Valley.
Yeah, I'm in
Yeah.
Thousand Oaks.
Nice.
I started that condo I told you about was North Hollywood because all my buddies, all the all the musicians,
I know.
we're in North Hollywood.
Yeah, Studio City, North Hollywood, right over the hill, man. Perfect
That's it.
location.
That's it. I bought the condo in North Hollywood. I had that for years. Yeah, for years. That was great. Great.
So
Yeah.
just to talk about Cher for a minute before we go back to REO, because this is really fascinating to me. Was she doing covers of rock songs? Is that why she wanted you?
No, I just did the audition, and she just liked the way I played and looked at the time. I mean, my hair was down here, whatever, and she was dating, Richie. So I mean, Richie was huge. Bon Jovi was
Yeah,
huge,
oh yeah.
And I guess she just liked my look and the way I, played. I don't know, but I did a lot of auditions for her. I thought, I didn't get it. I went 3 weeks later. Would you do another audition? I'm like, sure, I'll do another audition. Sure, come back and do it again.
Yeah, I was wondering
and then
about this.
I didn't get it.
Yeah, I was wondering about the set. Was it like covers, or were they like originals, or what?
It was, if I can remember, it was a Bon Jovi song. We Sleep Alone. We sleep. I can't remember the songs. I'm No Angel by Dwayne Allman. It was rocking.
Oh, she did her ex-husband Greg Allman song. That's cool.
Yeah. We started off with "I'm No Angel." It was rocking.
Wow.
If what's a good thing to do? Pull up the Cher extravaganza. There's a whole DVD on it. Yeah,
probably
Cher,
on
I'm
YouTube. Wow, that's fantastic.
And it's Bang Bang. We did some sunny songs, Bang Bang, but we did them heavy. They were rocking because she was going out with Richie, man. We didn't do any, gypsy tramps and thieves. No, we were smoking.
You just reminded me of something. I'll never forget this. I was watching the American Music Awards, and all of a sudden I look on my screen and I see you up there with Julian Lennon, and I called Donnie Thayer, because we were hanging out at that time in LA. And right when I picked up the phone, he said, Dave Amato. We both said Dave Amato at the same time, because I was like, I'm with these people, and I'm like, I know that guy, right? And you're playing with Julian Lennon. That must have been incredible.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. The 80s in LA, I'm just reliving it with you now, and it was, but I did do, to fill in more blanks. That's how I got Julian. I was, when Nugent was on Atlantic, right? We were on Atlantic. So the powers to be in Atlantic, we did, they had Solid Gold. So if Atlantic artists came, from England or whatever, they needed a band to lip sync on Solid Gold. I did so many Solid Golds. It was insane. I did, Roger Daltrey, Bob Geldof. I can't remember all the things. So we put on a different clothes every week or a hat, just because it was the same band.
Was it you and Ricky? You and Ricky, right? Ricky Phillips.
Yeah, Ricky. Yes, Pat Torpey from Mr. Big, who passed away. God love him.
Oh yeah,
Pat Torpey of Mr. Big. We were kind of the nucleus of the Atlantic band there. So I got that from, Atlantic put me and Ricky together with Julian Lennon to do the American Music Awards. You know, that stemmed off from the Solid Gold thing, because he, you know, we did a good job for him in Solid Gold. So he gave us the American Music Awards, which was unbelievable. I mean, I was up there, and in the front row was, you know, Bruce Springsteen, Paul McCartney, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing up here? Like, oh, like, you know, I said, I looked out there and I said, I can't look out there anymore. I can't, you know, I was like, holy cow, you know, how did I get up here?
Yeah, it was funny
was
because I
85.
remember that. I remember the clip very well, and I remember at one point you and Julian like looked at each other and smiled at each other in the video, and I was like, I
Yeah,
can't believe I saw this guy play in
yeah.
August, and now he's on TV with Julian Lennon. You know, I mean, of course, a lot
He
of these
was,
other.
yeah, he was more nervous than I was backstage when they were announcing us. I was a little nervous. I was nervous, you know, but he was so nervous. He made me nervous, you know. I go, how you doing, Julian? He was like so nervous. I was like, he's making me crazy, you know. But he's great. And I could have gone on tour with him, but I did something. I was doing Nugent, I guess, or something else, you know.
When was it that you became fully 100% REO Speedwagon? Because that seemed to have happened at one point, and then you played on a bunch of the records, and you became like a core of the band, basically.
Well, we did the first record in '89, you know, but you know, we were making a record, so we had time. That's why I did all the other moonlighting stuff, I guess you would call it, you know, with Richie, with Cher, you know. So 89, 90, 91, 92, probably after 92, I guess, you know, but I mean, I was still a member in there, you know, we were still doing stuff, but we weren't touring that much or whatever, you know, and because we were doing like records and promotional things, you know. So, I mean, I did that. I did all my job in there, you know, but I guess right after the 92 Cher thing, you know, I mean, we started climbing up again, you know, because you know, they were just amazing in the like early 80s, you know, and you know what goes up kind of comes down, you know. And when I joined, it was kind of flat, you know. So the Brian Hitt and the drummer now and I, 34 years, we kind of, you know, in with the guys, you know, kind of built it slowly, you know, slowly back up again, and it's still going great, man. It's I'm so lucky, really lucky.
You guys are like synonymous with like summer touring, you know, like there's certain bands that you can count on, like Styx. I know you actually am friends with those guys. I
Oh
I
yeah.
met JY and I worked at A&M Records. So when we put out their greatest hits package, I got to hang out with JY and Tommy Shaw, and Dennis DeYoung even did those shows. And I was like, I can't believe I'm with these guys. You actually played a gig with them on TV.
Oh yeah, we did the early morning in New York, right? Years ago.
What happened that someone couldn't make it?
On that?
Yeah,
No,
was JY and Tommy both there for that show?
I think so. Yeah, I would say yeah.
So they had three
Yeah,
guitars.
yeah, and we played each other's songs or something. You know, I think we fooling yourself. I think we played that with them, and they played, you know, Roll with the Changes with us or something. You know.
Oh, both bands did it together. Okay,
Yeah,
I
we did
get
a
it.
song or two together. We mixed it. You know, both of us. You know,
Are
we
you
did that
on?
with. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, are you out with another band now, or are you guys just doing a headlining tour?
No, we did Styx and Loverboy last year. We did, you know, us Styx and Loverboy. We did a big shed tour last year. So they're talking about next year doing another, you know, bigger tour. So we're kind of doing B markets this year because you got to kind of take a break. You don't want to wear it out. You know, they said, oh, we saw REO last year. You know, maybe we won't see him or whatever in the big sheds. You know, so we're kind of doing the B markets, which is it's amazing. You know, tonight we do theaters and casinos and amphitheaters. You know, we're doing great. You know, little smaller markets, which are amazing. You know,
Yeah,
but we did all the big ones last year. So we did.
yeah.
You know, we played up good. We don't want to wear it out. That's what we usually do.
Kevin's voice is holding out pretty well after all these years.
He's a trooper, man. He's amazing. He's amazing. I mean,
Okay, this is the part of the show that I've been waiting for. I
okay.
was absolutely floored and blown away when I watched this video of you going into your private warehouse in San Fernando Valley And when they opened that door, the guy that you were with, I think he was from Gibson or something, his mind
Yeah.
was blown. But then I saw those white Marshall amps, and then all the guitars, and I was like, how in the world did you get a collection of stuff this big?
I did. You know what? It amazes me when I go into that locker. I have two lockers. That was only the first one. I have another one now that I did it all myself. I just love, I'm like, I'm with Bonamassa. Bonamassa is worse than me. He's
Joe.
insane. And he's a good friend of mine, we just have I mean, I've never done any drugs or anything like that. My drug is the gear. Is the gear.
You're addicted to your gear.
I really am. I really am. I have about 200 guitars and about 200 amplifiers, and mostly Marshalls. Mostly Marshalls. Yeah.
Do you ever play out of
well
Vox?
over 100 Marshall amplifiers.
You don't go near Vox or Orange or anything
Oh,
else?
I have some Vox. No Orange. Old Fender 60s
Fenders.
blackface. 60s blackface, which I grew up on, in Framingham. That's the way I have the money for those blackfaces. So I collect the old Fender. I don't use them, but I collect the Fender blackfaces. I just every time I see one, like, oh, I gotta have it. Gotta have it. It's crazy.
So do you sell any
fun.
of it? Are you selling stuff too, or are you just buying?
Just buying. I trade some with my buddies, so I really want something, So I'll trade you this for that one, and I'll give you some more money, whatever. Just, but no, I don't really sell them. I can trade some of them.
Are you known around, all your fellow other guitar players as the guy with all the equipment?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they think I'm crazy. You're nuts, man. Yeah.
Do you have
they see my?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, they think I'm crazy. They think I'm nuts. Yeah.
Do you have any guitar players like that you really, I mean, you obviously you got all these friends. You mentioned Whitford and Richie and all these guys. Is there guitar players that you like really look up to and go, that guy is my, hero?
Yeah. Well, right now, I mean, Nuno is killing me. Oh my God, he's just. I mean, I watched some videos he's doing like lately. I mean, even before. I mean, Get the Funk Out. That solo is unbelievable, unbelievable. But some of the stuff he's doing now, just some of the videos go across, Facebook or whatever I'm seeing. I mean, he's doing some stuff that, holy crap! I mean, it's unbelievable. And of course, Bonamassa is, my buddy. He's a friend of mine, and he's. I just go like this to him, Bonamassa is incredible, and he's a friend. And he's great. He's so good to me, and I like the Foo Fighters. Foo Fighters got some good players in there. The guitar players really good, underrated, I think.
I love that you hit me with some guys that I wasn't expecting. I mean, sometimes people just, Hendrix, Jeff Beck, Brian May,
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, those are my heroes, You said like now, what, did you say now,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It does now, then, I mean.
Jeff Beck, what a sad loss,
Yeah.
I was watching his, Jeff is just untouchable. I mean, he's up there. Clapton has slipped. I love Clapton and Cream, but he slipped a little, I mean, of course, he's older. What the heck, But, Page and Hendrix, of course. There's, they don't even have to say that in my, in my yard here, But lately, I mean, Nuno is doing, and Eddie, oh my God, I can't leave out Eddie, it's what a shame, And I kind of knew Eddie a little bit from going over Bradshaw's, I got a bunch of Bradshaw rigs, and I used to see him over there in the 80s, working on stuff with Bob Bradshaw, and it was just a shame, just a shame.
Yeah.
Beck and Eddie, wow. But yeah, that, I mean, those are my heroes, but now, I mean, Nuno is coming up the man. I mean, he's always been there, but holy, he's doing some stuff lately. It's like acrobatic. What is he doing? You know?
Yeah,
Wow.
they got a new record out too now,
I
too.
know.
Extreme.
If you see that new video he's doing and the solo in that video, what? You know? So that's just in my head because this week, you know, or the last couple of weeks, I've been watching him going, Jesus, I better start practicing, you know?
I think he's from Hudson, actually, Hudson,
Yeah, from
Massachusetts.
Hudson. Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
never
I
know,
mean, I
man.
met him I met him a couple of times, but I don't really know him, you know. But yeah, I mean, we play with Night Ranger. The Night Ranger guys, they're my brothers. I love, you know, Brad Gillis, great. You know, Night Ranger guys are, you know, just and the Aerosmith guys, you know, Joe and Brad. Come on,
They're
they're,
doing their last tour, I guess.
I know. I want to go see them before, you know, before it's over.
Yeah,
You
we're gonna
know.
all have to.
Yep.
Well, you know, I was gonna ask you if there's anything that you haven't achieved that you've dreamt about, but man, you've had a pretty damn good run, man.
Yeah. Um, it's been good. It's been great. It's been great. Um, you know, I'm happy here with the REO guys. It's my family. You know, it's a real family. Um, just you know, Kevin wants to keep it going. It's great. You know, I mean, I hope it someday, you know, would they let these the classic rock bands into the Hall of Fame because this band deserves it. You know, um, Styx, Foreigner, they're not in there. REO, I mean, come on, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
through Journey in there, great, you know. Um, I just, you know, hope maybe someday, you know, this band will be the Hall of Fame. You know, I hope,
I'd
man.
like to see you standing on the stage at the Rock and Roll Hall of
That
Fame.
would, I think, you know, you're saying something. If that would happen, that would be the icing on the cake for me. That's it, right there. I guess what I'm trying to say without even saying it.
Yeah.
You
Hey, I
know?
went to Framingham State, so you know, I mean, I would love to have a guy from that area like be in the Rock and Roll
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Oh
Definitely.
yeah. You know, speaking of Framingham, I just went back there a couple of months ago because they voted me into the Framingham South Hall of Fame. So I got inducted to the Framingham South Hall, which I thought was amazing. You know, I had to go back. I thought, well, at my age, yeah, I'm going to go. You know, that's really very. I thought that was really very cool. You know, I don't know
Congratulations,
who put
man.
me in there, but yeah, it was really nice. You know, of my achievements, I guess. You know, but
Yeah.
like you say, I don't even think about it until you know, you get an interview or you know, remind me of all that stuff.
Hey,
We just keep going.
yeah. Hey, thanks a lot, man. You know, I know Jimmy D's probably up there like listening
Yeah.
too, you know, man.
Oh, he came to some shows. He used to call me.
Yeah, I miss
You know, he
Jimmy.
used to call me and come to shows. You know, he was going to come to the week before he died. He was going to come see me. I talked to him, and he was going to come. And I talked to him, and he said, "You know, Dave, I'm not feeling good." That was that week. He said,
Yeah.
"I can't make it out, man. I'm not feeling." So, okay, Jimmy, I hope you feel better. You know, he goes, "I can't make the show, man. I'm not feeling good." You know, I go, okay. And that was that week. And then Louis called me, and somebody called me and said, "Jimmy died." I'm like, "Oh God." He was coming out like a week before. Terrible, terrible.
I hate that. I don't want to end this on a sad note.
No, I know. No,
Yeah.
I mean, I love those guys dearly. You know, I just they didn't like it when I left. That they didn't even
Oh,
talk to me. You
I
know,
know they didn't like it when you left, man. You were an
no,
intricate part of that band, you know?
yeah, I had to go. You know, my time was up. You know,
Yeah.
on a couple of things, even the Nugent thing, I knew my time was up. Or even Jimmy Barnes, I kind of knew. You know, I'm like, okay, you know, I think something else I need to do around the you know around the horizon on the horizon. You know,
Well,
so
listen,
it's
I'm gonna let you go and get ready for your show tonight, man. I've kept you long enough, man.
no, it's okay. It was a pleasure. Jesus, I never think about this stuff. You know, I just go forward. You know, and you remind me of it. I'm like, wow, that was pretty cool. You know, all the stuff. It's been a great ride. It's been a really wonderful, you know, career. You know, in LA. That's what I said. In LA has been great to me. You know, I can't knock. Some guys really knock. I hate LA. Hate LA. I love LA.
Yeah,
It's
I do
been
too.
incredible for me, and still is. So anyway,
Congratulations, man, on everything you've done,
thanks.
man. What a career.
Oh, it's great
Fantastic.
talking to you, man.
All
Thank
right,
you for this.
Dave.
I'm reminiscing. You made me reminisce about all sorts of stuff. That's great. That's really cool.
Good luck tonight, man.
Oh, thanks.
All
Thanks,
right.
man. I appreciate it. Appreciate
My
it. Thanks.
pleasure.
Okay, I'll see you.
All right.
Hey, what are you close to Cochituate? I mean, where are we playing? Cohasset, or Hyannis?
I'm in Worcester County.
Oh, okay. I mean, we're there on the weekend. Just I don't know.
Well, here, hold on, and I'll talk to you when we get off here. Thanks,
Okay,
Matt.
okay.